Hello everybody, this is the second video for my conversation class. The previous video was about secret number 1, this is secret number 2. Okay, let's move forward. To review, secret number 1 was about contractions. I asked angrily, who taught Taiwanese to ignore this essential part of the spoken English language? I also mentioned that these contractions consisted of actual combinations of helping verbs and pronouns and the NT abbreviation, depending if it was affirmative or negative. The helping verbs are a very important part. I said that all English statements and questions have a helping verb. And I showed you these combinations, these contractions. The affirmative contraction that doesn't have not in it looks like this. I'm, you're, there, we're, he's, she's, it's. I've, you've, they've, we've, he's, she's, it's. I'd, you'd, they'd, we'd, he'd, she'd, it'd, I'll, you'll, they'll, will, he'll, she'll, it'll. And the second set are the negative contractions we get from our basic grammar. Aren't, isn't, wasn't. I said weren't is very hard to pronounce for Taiwanese. Weren't, hadn't, haven't, hasn't, don't, doesn't, didn't, can't, couldn't, won't, wouldn't, and shouldn't. And then I mentioned that we also have a combination of contractions that give us would've, could've, and should've, 3 very common words. I said these were the important 41 words in English that you should be using to improve your spoken English and your English efficiency. I also mentioned some other situations well, not here, this is a very simple contraction. There are many other contractions in English. Long answer questions have a situation with the does helping verb grammar where the does is replaced by apostrophe s. And I mentioned that's an issue. I also mentioned that we don't have affirmative contractions in the simple present and the simple past family. We do have don't, does, and didn't. And we also have do, does, did. But those helping verbs are not used with most statements. They are used to emphasize situations. Here's some reasons. Here's another reason why is because we conjugate our main verbs. For example, we will say he, she, it goes. That's a third person singular conjugation, and it's a very important problem for Taiwanese. Okay, the next one was the past. I said that it's also a problem because students don't really want to memorize the conjugated forms of the half. Well, they're not used to using them. They have memorized them. However, the problem is the courage to use them more. Instead of saying, I did go to the movies, you should say, I went to the movies. Don't use the helping verb. And then I also mentioned that we have something called a reduction. And the words wouldn't have, couldn't have, and shouldn't have are reductions. And that was what I want to lead into. My second secret is also more reductions. In everyday English, we get a single chance to comprehend what is said to us. After studying a language, why is it that the Taiwanese have such a hard time understanding everyday conversation? Well, the reason why is because we're usually using natural reductions. Some people say that the forms of reductions I've presented to you are not okay, and they're lazy English. However, I say they're natural reductions where we naturally put words together and we delete. Okay, so those are people liking my first video. That's why I got encouraged to make my second video. I think I'm going to redo both. But let's just get into it. Reductions. What's going on here? Even in Chinese, san q, well, I should say the Taiwan culture uses san q, and I'm sure other cultures, maybe mainland China, uses san q to say thank you. And that's a reduction of the word thank you. We don't say thank you, we say thank you. And the Taiwanese have told me they noticed this, and the 3q, san q, that means san in Chinese. So anyways, these are combinations, and they are also reductions of 2 words put together. That's an example, but here's some real reductions. First, let's talk about a reduction in single words. When we use certain words with 3 syllables, grocery, that's 3个音节, we actually naturally reduce it to a 2-syllable reduction, 2个音节, right? Grocery. Instead of saying grocery, we say grocery. Business, we say business. Probably, camera, family, sophomore, All these words can be reduced one syllable. Probably, camera, family, sophomore. I never said sophomore when I was a sophomore. I always said sophomore with two syllables. Reductions also have, with two words, have to, need to, want to, going to. We say wanna, have to, gonna, need to, has to, need to. But I have a question for you. When we use these want to, we say wanna, gonna, have to, has to. I have another word that you should use, and I'm going to ask you this question. If have to and has to equals must, I have to go, I must go. She has to go, she must go. What about don't have to and doesn't have to? I forgot to change it, but does it equal mustn't? Let me just type that in right now so I don't forget. Does it equal mustn't? It doesn't. Mustn't is not the same. So I'm going to put in a line right here. Wait, where's my line tool? Line tool. Here we go. Let's try this. Nope. Let me try one more time. Can I do it? There we go. I'll do this now, and then later on I'll shorten it. The line through the equal means it does not equal. So, no, it does not equal. Have to, doesn't, don't have to, and doesn't have to does not equal mustn't. Mustn't has a different meaning. Mustn't means you are prohibited. Don't have to means you're not required, or you don't have to. It means it's not necessary. It's not obligated. There's no obligation. But, so my question, let's go back this direction. Oh, there it is. I did it. Is this correct? When I was a child, I should take out the trash every day. Many Taiwanese use this, and I only use Taiwanese because I've taught Taiwanese for 16 years. This is not correct. Instead of saying should, which is advice, and it's not about the past, should is not a past word. Should have is the past. For example, I should have taken out the trash yesterday because now there are insects in the kitchen. That's talking about the past. But should without have, should have, and I of course showed this, the previous word, should have. I'll go back very quickly. But we have should have and shouldn't have. That's talking about the past. That's one reason why this shouldn't have is so important. I shouldn't have left the trash out in the kitchen. Now there are insects everywhere. So when I talk about shouldn't, let me get back. It's not talking about the past. Shouldn't have is talking about the past. So let me tell you what's correct. Don't say I should take out the trash every day when I was a child. No, we have to say when I was a child I had to take out the trash, because there's no way to say must. We can't say must in the past either. We can't talk about must. There's a lot of problems with must. So now we're using had to. And we even say hadda. Okay, I had to. When I was a child, I had to take out the trash every day. My sister didn't have to because she was younger than I was. She didn't have to. We do change it a little bit. We say have to instead of have to. I wouldn't say she didn't have to. Well, yeah, I can say that actually. But sometimes we change it to have to. Anyways, she didn't have to. No problem. Let's keep going. So we do need to add hadda in this group of reductions. And that's it. Next one is, of course, I already talked about the reduction from would, could, should. I would have done it. I woulda. We changed the would've. The v sounds like of. I would've. I wouldn't have. Pronounced wouldn't have. Okay, wouldn't have is a very important word. This is a contraction. This is a reduction. We also reduce the, oops, let me just put that back. We also reduce the of to I woulda. And that's a reduction. I woulda. And then we can also do it here and say I wouldn't. The T disappears too. We don't say I wouldn't. Well, that's not bad. I wouldn't. So I wouldn't have done it. Now, I'm not going to talk about this grammar today, but it's very important grammar. It's the third condition. We can say I wouldn't, I woulda, I shoulda, I coulda, and I mighta. I gave those words before. I'll just show you one more time. Where did I put those? I had them. Very convenient. Anyways, I'll probably be redoing these videos, and that's right here. That's also showing, I should just try going to the next slide. Would have, could have, might have, must have, and shouldn't have. And the negative wouldn't have, couldn't have, mightn't have, and mustn't have. We really don't say that very often, but it's possible to say. I would understand it if somebody said it to me. Shouldn't have. We also reduce the of. It's not have, it's would have. Of course, that's not a contraction. That's just the two words separated. Would have. So we just say woulda, coulda, mighta, musta, shoulda. And we also can say wouldn't, couldn't, mightn't, mustn't, and shouldn't. These are words that I could understand. Even these are used. There are some rare words. We also put with the D and the U, we will make a J sound. Would ya, could ya, and should ya. And we also can do a little bit here. How'd ya do that? That's the past. How did you, D-U, how'd you do that? And we also reduce the how do you do that? 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 And how'd you do that? How'd you do it? We have many combinations with how did you. Not just how did you do that, but how did you do everything or anything? How'd you get to the office today? How did you get, how'd you, and how did you? Sometimes we'll say did you too. Did you or ja? I forgot to write down did you. I'll have to put that here. Did you? Okay, that is the end of this reduction lesson. I know there's a lot of reductions there, and there's not much I can test. So when I say there's going to be a quiz, I probably have to make it pretty easy. Let's look at, what is this? Going back. I think I missed this. This is a very important slide, and I really regret. How did I miss that? I jumped around. Long answer questions also have reductions. Where of, how of, where did you. See, I definitely have to do this video again now, right? I totally messed it up. And the other ones here with these statements, theirs and here's, we also say thereof and here and there. But my favorite one to teach is the tag question reductions. And when we make a tag question, for example, you're a teacher, aren't you? We say, aren't you, in the tag question. You're a teacher is the statement. And then we tag a question on it. Aren't you? You're a teacher, aren't you? But we don't say, aren't you? We change and say, aren't you? Or aren't you? And we can even say, aren't I? I'm the teacher, aren't I? Well, that's actually not even a reduction. Why did I write that down? But here's some other ones. Don't you, didn't you, haven't you, and can't you? And think about that. Everybody knows the song, don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Don't you? Don't you? We don't say don't you. We say don't you? Didn't you? Haven't you? The CH sound comes with a TU. It changes to a CH. Haven't you? Can't you? And we say it very quickly, and we make it say don't you? Didn't you? Haven't you? Can't you? It's about the same. Not sure why I separated that. And then my last one was here. I'm going to change those around because my favorite one is different. Now, then this is the end of secret number one. Secret number two. Secret number one was contractions, and secret number two is reductions. Really, 1 and 2 should be similar in spoken English because contractions and reductions are really the same thing, but reductions aren't written and contractions are written, and you're not allowed to use a reduction in your writing. When I use reductions, I show the bracket, and that way you know that it's a pronunciation bracket. It's not the way it should be written. Next time, we're going to talk more about helping verbs. Where's my third? Oh, I'm always losing my slides here. Where did that slide go? I thought it was ready and waiting. Okay, the third one is more information about the helping verbs. I have some questions I want to test you on. I've done it a lot. This is a very successful way to, the specific is how to respond using helping verbs. I lost my first slide though, so luckily I wasn't going to talk about it in this situation. I'm still looking for my first slide. Where does it go? It disappeared. Okay, never mind. I don't need it. I'm finished, and it's already too long anyways. I hope that you don't mind that I am not putting subtitles in my video because the subtitles are very difficult. So I'll try to speak slower. If you have any questions, you can ask them and I'll make it very clear. Have a nice day and evening. Bye-bye.